Hey, what's up, YouTube? What's up, Arcade1up fanatics? That's right, you've guessed it. We've got another Arcade1up modification video here for you guys today. And which one is it gonna be? It's gonna be this one right here, the Street Fighter. That's right. Mod video here. I got images in the description part. There's actually two images on here. I'm super excited about this one and to present this one to you guys. It's just super sexy. It just looks so nice. I've done I'm surprised with myself on here. I'll show you guys in a little bit here what I'm talking about. I know you guys are gonna love it. You know, I had a lot of comments. I had a lot of messages on here of what people wanted on here, and I try to put everything together on here where it's not overwhelming and try to please almost everybody on there. You'll be able to customize, edit it on here as well. I'm going to show you guys how to do that as well. But if this is the first time you're watching one of my channels, one of my videos on here, you know, it's not your ordinary modification video on here, you know, where I mean, you look at this Street Fighter cabinet on here. This is a modified Street Fighter cabinet. Besides the joysticks on here, you know, I upgraded these to HAPs on here. But you look at it here, and you might be asking yourself, like, where's the extra buttons? You know, people, where's your extra coin buttons on here, or an extra power switch on here, or your speaker on here? Nothing. And that's the one key thing on here, and I've always wanted to stay with this concept, and that is, you know, try to make this, do the modification, but keeping it as stock as possible, keeping it so it's, you know, so where you look at this Golden Tee cabinet, you look at this Pac-Man, this Rampage cabinet, whichever cabinet on here, it's gonna be the same. It's gonna same way you turn this one on or that one on, this one, same thing's going to be on here. I wanted to keep that concept the same. That's the same thing as far as the volume. The volume switches on here, you know, be the same on all cabinets. And I've done all that. I've done all that on here. Plus, on top of that, you know, where you have some of these modification videos out here on YouTube, they won't give you the image. I've done that, so which means you don't have to do any of the scripting, any of the codings, any of the technical types of works on here. All you really have to do is write the image onto the SD card. That's it. You know, as long as you know that. I'm not going to do a whole tutorial on how to do that. I mean, by now, I think a lot of you guys know how. There's a lot of instructions, details on doing so. You know, you go to the RetroPie website itself. I'm sure there's an instruction. You know, same way you install, you write in a RetroPie image. You're going to do this with my images on here, which is, you know, pretty much set up, plug and play, put it in, and that's it. You know, so you know, there's YouTube videos out there as well for guys that don't know how to do that, so I'm not going to go through a whole that, as well as also wiring this thing up on here. A lot of you guys follow the ETA Prime video on there, which is fine. Like I said, he probably does a much better job than I do in you know, telling you guys how to set that up. But I do have images on here which pretty much shows you where each wire goes. So as soon as you have everything unhooked on here, I'll show you where each wire goes and gets plugged into, where the, you know, the on and off switch goes, the volume switches, your controls, everything, you know, the HDMI, how to hook up the Pi to it. So it's all there. As long as you follow that tutorial on there and you hook it up the same way, you should be fine. I have my keyboard out here today because I'm going to go into some of the options that there's. So I'm going to show you how to edit some of the stuff if you need be, or you want to change some stuff on this image. Let's get started here. Let's get started. So basically, like I said, if you this is the first time watching any of my modified videos, a lot of guys were very happy, very pleased with the Donkey Kong image, and especially the Rampage one I did on here, and I wanted to get a good Street Fighter because I know a lot of people have the Street Fighter cabinet and they specifically got it to modify it. But I want to show you guys how to make it look good, how to make it simple, basic, user friendly on here, and and not just throwing a whole bunch of games on here, not putting like 1,000 games, because that's not what I'm really all about on here. You're not gonna see 4-player games on here or trackball games on here. You know what I mean? I kept it with the Capcom theme on this one on here. There's so many great Capcom games, and I think it's more than enough games on here for one machine. So, and the other image, there's also a second image because it was a special request on here to make this a dedicated Street Fighter Champions Edition cabinet, which only plays Street Fighter Champions Edition. So that's the other image on there. So make sure when you're downloading the image, you download the right one. But I'm going to just get into details on both. So let's get started. First thing first, what do you need? What do you need to modify to change? Like this Rampage, you see Battletoads on here. Obviously, it's not one of the games on here. This one has been modified as well. How do you do this? How do you get this? What stuff do you need on here? So let's go over here. Basically, I got it here on my pool table. This is what you're going to need. You're going to need a Raspberry Pi. I recommend at least getting a 2 or 3 on here. For these games, you really don't need, you don't even need the 3 Plus or the 4 on here. This is I think it's a 3 or 3 Plus, not sure. You're going to need a Pi that's going to run the games. You're going to need a SD card, micro SD card on here. Really don't need a big micro SD card, especially my images that you download, which is only like what, 3, maybe 4 gigabytes. So you really only need I would say a 8 gigabyte SD card. That's it. Which I don't know, maybe it's like $5 or less. So you're going to need the SD card. You need the Pi. You need a HDMI wire and a power for the. They sell this also. You could buy them separately, or they sell them as a kit, whatever. As long as you have that, and you're also going to need one of these. This basically allows you to hook up the HDMI so you can run the Pi. Because the monitor on here uses a different hookup, and this basically converts it to allow you to use the HDMI. That's all that is. Like I said, I have images on here which will show you guys how to hook this up on here. And also for the USB, because all your buttons, controls will have to plugged in, so you could use the USB to connect it to your Pi, because the Pi takes the we got 4 USBs on here. So I have images already showing you on here. You guys want to take a look basically where each wire goes, where the speaker wire goes. On the Pi, if you guys can take a look where all the pins are, where the on-off switch goes, where the volume switch goes, and make sure it's very important that you connect this the right way and the way it is. If you see the black wire is there where the red wire is, it's got to be identical. It will make a difference if you don't, or if you use the wrong pin on there, it'll just mess everything up on there. Same thing goes with the with your video on here. So because I also had some questions. People were saying they downloaded the image, it wasn't working, that it's wrong. I've tested them, so most of the time the image is fine. It's just a couple things that keep in mind. You could corrupt your SD card, and what I mean is let's say you have these hooked up like I do to like a power surge on there, and when you're playing this, let's say you just turn it off, on there that way. You do that a couple times. Sometimes it might not, but eventually it could corrupt your SD card, which means don't panic on here, because a lot of guys think, it's not working, the monitor is that. No, it's just SD card. Luckily, you could just re-download the image on there, but without going through the hassle, just make sure you basically turn it off first. Wait a couple seconds on there, because sometimes they write stuff in there. So turn it off and then turn the power. The other thing is, like I said, your pins, you might not have it connected right. The wires, or your red might be where the black is the red. So then that's gonna could change the way this is. It might think it's off, not on. So if I had this off and I turn this on right now, it's just gonna turn itself off. It might give you the Arcade1up splash screen, and then boom, turns it off. So make sure this is on there, and your wires are connected right, and everything should be fine. Like I said, it's the script and the coding is set up the way it's hooked up on there. So it's very important that you guys, you know, pretty much keep it the same way that I have it. So on here, we're going to turn this on. Now, I'm going to explain what I did on this image, what you're going to get in this image that you download and use. Number one, you're going to be able to power this on with the switch. Now, the thing I don't get, a lot of these different mod videos I see, they disregard this. Like, they don't use this. Why? And use what you have, you know. As one guy would tell me, you know, use what you have, you know. Use this, I mean, if it's there, why not use it? Because it just, to me, it just looks dumb. It looks, I mean, you'll have these switches here that do absolutely nothing. And it just makes it, I don't know, out of place on there. Like I said, then each machine turns on differently. So then this becomes a modified machine. Yeah, it's cool. It's going to have the games, but that takes away from it, man. So use this. If it's here, why not use it? All you got to do is connect it to the pins. It's not, you know, brain science on there. And I got the coding done for you guys, so you don't have to do or worry about anything. And there's no reason putting drilling holes. I know you guys may have ordered your deck protectors, might take months to get that, or some of you even purchase your deck protector. You know, why ruin it on here, or ruin this on here, putting holes here? You know, what if you want to swap back to the stock? You know, you won't be able to do that, because I mean, it's going to look, then you have all these extra buttons for nothing, you know. So you don't need all that. You don't need none of that, you know. I mean, I see when guys put like the coin slot here. That's cool, you know. I mean, if you're going to do that, if you're going to make any type of holes or anything, put a coin door, you know what I mean. Why are you going to put additional buttons here? So you're not going to see that type of mod on here. So basically, when I turn this on, this, like I said, it's going to work just as any stock Arcade1up. Turns it on and turns it off. Here adjusts the volume off, you know, medium, high. So, and when I turn this on, one thing to look for, you know, normally when you boot up Raspberry Pi on here, you'll have like boot text on here, you'll have a Raspberry Pi image. I got rid of all that, so you're not going to see any type of texting, any logos on there. I added in the Arcade1up splash screen, so you're still going to get the arcade splash screen when you turn on, you know, just like any other machine, and then it's going to go right into the menu. So let me show you guys here. Let me turn this one on here. Like I said, just switch on there, and basically it's going to boot it up. Like I said, there's no texting, there's no logos on here or anything. There's your Arcade1up splash screen. So like I said, we want to try to keep this look as stock as possible on there, you know, not having to put any type of holes, any additional buttons, switches on here, and just use what you have. So when you load this up, I love this image right here, this Arcade1up theme. It just looks awesome. I mean, you got the brick wall on there, you got the Arcade1up logo here, the RetroPie, and just the way these things. So I'm going to go through these on here, but before I get into that, let me explain what else I did with this image. I wanted to make it user-friendly. So basically, because, you know, I know some of you guys may have friends come over, your girlfriend, your wives, your kids, the kids' friends, cousins, neighbor, whatever the case may be. And, you know, normally you'll have your start button, your Y button and stuff. And each button that you press on here will function something on the Pi. Will bring up a menu, will bring up an options, an edit, you know. As you could see here, there is no RetroPie options. Nobody could go into the options on here. The other thing is there's no start button. So you press any of these buttons, you know, on here, nothing's gonna happen. The only ones that work is the A and B. Just basically select something or to go back. That's it. You know, I even got rid of the going sideways. You know how sometimes you'll be scrolling through the game list, you go down, and then you might slightly hit the right or down right, and it'll get you over to the other menu. Right and left does nothing on here. All you do is go up and down. You back up, you want to pick something else, up and down. So I also got rid of that. I think it's a lot better, just because, like I said, it's annoying going through a list and then switching to something else. You won't have to worry about somebody coming in here and, let's say, bringing up the options menu, bringing up the, you know, changing the theme on here, you know, customizing, editing something, deleting, adding a favorites, whatever, removing a favorites. They can't do it with just the control pad. It's not going to allow you. There's no functions on here besides the A and B, and both of these control it. You know, whether you're moving on player 2 or player 1, they both can control the menu on here. Now, it doesn't mean that we don't have the options menu. We still have it, and that's through the keyboard. So the only way you're going to be able to access it is through the keyboard. And why not? You know, it's not like you're going to be editing or going to options every day. You know what I mean? You hook this up, set it up how you want it to look, and, you know, anytime you want to edit it, it's, you know, it's not a day-to-day thing. You know, it might be maybe once a month, or you might want to change a game, edit game, delete a game, you know, but, you know, just get the USB. So that allows, you know, for nobody to be able to change anything on here for you. So that was the other thing, you know what I mean? Because Arcade1up machines, when they're in stock, there is no options menu. I like that. I like that on here. I wanted to keep that same concept because I do have a lot of, you know, kids, a lot of people, friends and stuff that come over and use it. And I don't want them to go into, let's say, I'm going to go on the keyboard like the enters the start button on here. So, you know, I don't want them to, let's say, hit this to get into the options. They don't know how to exit out here, or they change something, they change the theme, the settings on here. Like, I don't want any of that. So the only way to access, like I said, through the keyboard, and I wanted to keep it like that. So that's what you're going to get in the image. And let's go over this. I mean, like I said, this new, I like this theme. I like how this thing looks on here. It's just great. The brick wall, the Arcade1up, and these images. I did like a collection thing. I think this is going to work out real nice. Let me explain what's on here. Because I got messages about the Street Fighter cabinet. As you guys know, Capcom released a home arcade. You know, it's like one of those big joysticks, 2-player, and has 16 titles. 16 pretty good. I'll say they did a great job in selecting that on there, and that's what you get here in this first image. And the Capcom Classics, I have them listed on here. So let's go in there. Basically, you got the 16 of that. And this is great. I know some countries don't even have this release, or they haven't released it yet there, so you can't even get it. You'll have it here on this image. So it has all the 16 games on here. That's the first one I have on here. Another one people asked about the Final Fight, because they have the cocktail cabinet, which has the 12-in-1, combines the Street Fighter with the Final Fight. So I threw that in here. It's basically, here's the 4 Final Fights, and then below that is the Street Fighter. And on the Street Fighter, you have 13 different Street Fighters. It goes all the way up to Street Fighter 3 Third Strike on here. So you got the Alpha series on there, the Street Fighter 2 series, and even dating back to Street Fighter 1 on here. And I think that's it. Yeah, I even got the anniversary edition here of Hyper Street Fighter. So 13 of them on here. You know, that's actually even more than 12-in-1. But you want to go into right away into Street Fighter, boom. Click here, you got your Street Fighters. You know, you got your Final Fight here. You got your home arcade, Capcom here. And lastly, I also put the X-Men. This is the Marvel cabinet. You know, Marvel is made by Capcom as well. Now mine has 6 on here, so I took the Marvel, you know, superheroes. You got the Punisher, X-Men, Children of the Atom, but I also added X-Men for Street Fighter, Marvel vs. Street Fighter, and Marvel vs. Capcom. So it's actually a 6-in-1 on here. You know, so you got that on here. So, and I think it looks good. Like I said, it looks very clean. It looks very basic. Like it's easy to, you know, you want to play it Marvel Cat, boom. You want to play the Street Fighter, you just go right in here, Final Fight. And it's easy to navigate, go in there and get to what you want to play. Now, I know some of you guys wondering on here, okay, so we're able to customize this, and basically I say you just have to have the keyboard connected. I'm going to show you guys how this is done, because I have basically these collections here, these groups on here, set up on here. So, but let's say you already have the Final Fight cabinet, you know what I mean? You don't want that on there. Or let's say you already have the Marvel, you know, so you don't want that. Or you're crazy like me and you just want a Street Fighter cabinet, you know what I mean? Just have a Street Fighter and that's it, nothing else on here. Basically, what you're going to do, we're going to hit enter here, go into the start menu, and once you're here, you go down to game collection settings, alright? And then on here, right here, custom game collection, there's 4 of them right now. Capcom, Final Fight. So let's say you only wanted Street Fighter. So basically you would take the check marks off the other 3, and that way when we come back, boom, we only have Street Fighter. So, you know what I mean? So you could change that. You want to do that? Let me just put them back on here, press start, you know. So if you have the other cabs, or you just want a dedicated Street Fighter one on there, you know, if you want everything on here, you leave the check marks on there. There's also even, let me go back there, I forgot to mention, there's also here the automatic, if you want to add your favorites one on here, you check that, and basically, let me go to the old games. There's one here that has all the games, basically all the games on there, plus I added some additional gems on here as well, so there's 50 in total. So let's say you wanted to make a favorites on the keyboard. 1, 2, 3, 4 is A, B, X, Y. You press Y on there to make it a favorite, and then if you have that check mark, you could put another one here as your favorites. If you want to make, like, let's say a 6-in-1 cab, your favorite 6. You don't want to have this much games, you could do that. The other thing is, like, let's say you know, I have the Marvel cap. Like, you don't want the extra 3 games that I have on here. You could change that. You could edit that on here and just make it the 3 that the Marvel has. Or let's say you go to a Street Fighter, you know, like you don't want Street Fighter Alpha 2, like you have Street Fighter Alpha 3, you don't want the other ones, or Street Fighter 3 Third Strike. Do you really need the other 2? Or Street Fighter 1 ain't really that great. So you could narrow this down to maybe your top 4 or 5 Street Fighters, you know. And or let's say this Capcom one, you know, the 16, like you already have the Final Fight, so if you want to take that out of there, or some case you want to remove here, make your own top 16, you know, or make or update it to top 20, a top 20 list, and then you would just go to the Arcade Classic that has all of them listed, and you could add them. So basically, what you would do if you want to edit it that way, remove games from the collections, you have to be in the collection screen. So you have to be, I'm in the Capcom one on here, and once you're in there, the space bar is your select button. So press the space bar, and then down here it will say add remove games to this collection. So you pick that. Now I'm in edit mode. So if I press the Y button, which is number 4, any game on here, if I press that, I will remove it from this list. So if you want to remove it, you press the Y. If I go back to all the games now here, if I press the Y button here on the game that's not on there, it's gonna add it to the game collection. You know, so like I said, you could update this. You could put this top 20 or top 25, or remove some here that you don't want. Maybe, you know, like you already have a Street Fighter on the Street Fighter. Maybe remove that and put something else, you know, and make your top 16 on here. And then once you're done, when you're editing, basically press the start button, and you're going to go back here to game collection settings, and all the way down here, finish editing Capcom collection. Make sure you do press that. Once you do, all your changes will be saved on here. So you could edit it how you want it to look, you know what I mean? You don't like some of these collections, you could remove them, you could edit them, and then if you want to completely, let's say you want to remove the game, period. Once you do that, it will also remove it from any of the collections. So let's say, like you don't want Final Fight for some reason, you know. So you highlight the game, press the space bar here, and you go to all the way in the bottom here, edit this game's metadata. Press that. Once you're in here, this is where you change the name, image of it. You go all the way on the bottom where it says scrape, save, cancel, and you want to select delete. So I'm not going to do it now, but you delete, and that will permanently remove the game from here and from any collections. So you don't want to have this many games, you know. So the options are there. Like I said, I wanted to put all the games on here and stuff where if you want to edit, customize it how you want it to look, you still can. And the guys that want a lot of these games still have that here as well. And it's not overwhelming. I don't think it's that overwhelming. The way it's set up on here with these collections, I think it's pretty good. It's pretty good because you know you power this on. You say you want to play that Capcom thing, boom. Just pick that. You're in the mood for Street Fighter, boom. You know, Final Fight. You know, and then you can remove once you have. So that's that on there. And then let me explain on the images on here. We're gonna boot up a game on here. Let's go to, since it's Street Fighter, let's pick Street Fighter Championship Edition. So basically, the other thing you're getting in this image, like all my other images, just the way Arcade1up has, when you select a game, it will have a launch screen. It'll show you, have the control layout on here, and it'll show you what button does what. And it's real good for other games that's not Street Fighter. You know, Street Fighter, obviously, it's already highlighted here. But so let me go to like a different game. I don't know, Final Fight. You know, Final Fight. It doesn't have roundhouse kicks on that. Actually, only has 2 buttons. So it's going to show you how much button the game has and what button does what. You know, on that. The other thing is we removed the run command. You know, the emulators already are set up on here to play the game, which one it uses. And so you could hit any buttons. Because one thing I hated, some guys would power up the RetroPie for me, and then, you know, they don't want to wait or anything. They keep hitting, or they'll hit a whole bunch of buttons, and they'll get them into that run command where they could change the emulator and all that. And I didn't want that. Like I said, we want to make it user-friendly, and it is. So when you go into the game, I'm going to mash all these buttons. Like I said, just as I'm mashing over here now, doesn't do anything. Same thing's going to happen. So watch for that, the splash screen, and then and I'll get in detail once we're in the game as well. So we got Final Fight selected, pick it, loads up, splash screen, the marquee up there, which button does, and how to exit the game. Pretty much it's player 1 and the jab button here will exit any game. The other thing, I got rid of the hotkey features as far as you can't, the only hotkey that works is to exit a game, which is player 1 and the jab. So let's say you hold a player 1, which is also the coin here. Let's say you hold the player 1 and you press any of these buttons on here, nothing's gonna happen. It's not gonna bring up a menu, it's not gonna bring up the retro arch menu, whatever, speed, save, nothing, you know. So all that has been disabled, you know, because I have people like pressing separate buttons, then it brings up that retro arch menu. You could still do it through the keyboard, you know. So basically, your hotkey is the space bar, X button is number 3. So you press that, you'll get that. Now I didn't want to have that with the joystick, so like I said, it's disabled. It won't be there on here. You know. Let me just put the volume down. So basically, so you have all that. Like I said, the coin here. Work. You want to get player 2 in there. You know. And it's got the control set up. How you saw on it. You know. And then to exit, like I said, hold the player 1 and the jab. And that'll get you back to the menu. So, yeah, so that's basically that on there. And like I said, it's pretty clean. I love this menu. I love the look of this on here. Let me know what you guys think. Comment on there. Like I got my Street Fighter 7. I only have like 4 of them on here. Then I have like Alpha 3, Street Fighter 3 Third Strike, 2 Turbo, and the Championship Edition, you know. So you could do that. Like I said, you could narrow this down to the best of your liking on there. If you have this cab already on here, you could remove it. Final Fight. If you don't, you got everything on here on one machine. And you know, I love this cat. This Capcom has just, you know, great, a lot of great games. You can spend a lot of hours here on this. And I know a lot of people can't even get this on there, you know, if you're in different parts of the country. It's not even available. So it is here on this image. Like I said, just download that. And let me know what you guys think. Are you going to change your Capcom? Are you going to put your top 16 on here? What games? If there's any games that you see on here, I mean, I put pretty much the top games on here. There's extra bonus games on here. 50 games. You want to check those out. There's something that you want me to add here, I'll remove. I'll consider it. I'll see, you know. Any other ideas, like I said, leave it in the comments section there. What are you guys going to be keeping? Like I said, you're going to modify, edit this to that. And let me just talk a little bit about the next image on here, which is a dedicated Street Fighter Championship Edition. The guy messaged me, and basically he had this cabinet. I think he had a coin door here. I don't know, or he had he got R here of the Championship Edition, and he only wanted that. You know what I mean? Where it's going to boot up. It's not going to have any of these menus and any of these games. Just the one ROM is going to boot up. So I'm going to show you guys that on here. I'm going to change this out. Let me remove this one from the pie, and I'm going to show you guys what I'm talking about. Alright, so we took out the SD card we had that's plugged in. That has the all the games, the game collections on here you guys just saw. And we did was swap cards. And this one, it's a dedicated Street Fighter Championship Edition card on here. And what it does is, when I power this on, again, there's not going to be any text, any logo. It's going to have the Arcade1up. I might change that. I might put the like the Championship Edition logo on here. We'll see. But it's going to boot up right into the Street Fighter ROM on here. So let me take it. Basically, put the power switch. We got our volume here, and it boots up once again. No text, no logos on here. We still got our Arcade1up splash screen. Like I said, all we had to do is swap out the SD cards. You don't need another Raspberry Pi, another device. It's all about just switching these cards. So it's pretty cool. You know what I mean? You download that image, and basically it loads up the ROM. You know, once there's no menu, you don't have to select the game on here, and it's a dedicated Street Fighter Championship Edition cab. You know, I set up the free play on here. So basically, this is cool if, let's say, you know, you have a lot of machines like I do on here, and you just want to have Rampage, you just want to have Street Fighter, just Pac-Man. What's cool now, again, none of these buttons, you could mash all these buttons, nothing's going to bring up any type of menus, anything on here. You can't even exit the game, meaning there's no hotkey here to how before we would press these two exit. It's not going to work. You have to have the keyboard again hooked up. If you want the keyboard, if you need to change controls or anything, you still could do it through this way, and you could back out to the emulation by you know, the space and the enter. If you really need it too, you could still do it with that. But on here, when you have it hooked up on here, none of that will work. The only way is, you know, turn it on, turn it off here. That's it. That's the only function this has, which is cool if you know, I mean, when you're playing like this game, let's say I was playing Battletoads, I exited out, now it's going to be in the menu on here, where here, it's always going to stay in the attract mode, in the mode someone's not playing, someone is playing, so it's pretty cool. I mean, if you're crazy like this, and you just want to, you know, have it dedicated, if you want another one that's on here on the other games, let me know. I'll see what I could do. I'll make you know, like a Street Fighter Alpha 3 or Street Fighter Turbo one you want. That's just the that boots it up directly just for that game itself. What's cool? Like I said, you don't need. Let me turn it up. You don't need a separate Raspberry Pi. You don't have to get another. All you do is get an SD card, which is cheap. Well, they're like $5 maybe. And you don't need a big one. Like I said, 8 gigabytes is big enough to fit all of this that we have on here. And you just swap out the card. So let's say you're throwing a party. Let's say you have friends coming over and you just want to have it, you know, to play Street Fighter on here. You just swap out the cards and boom, and you're done. So, you know, and then once the party's over, you want it back to how you had it for yourself. You just put your other SD card, and that's that. You know what I mean? So, very easy concept on there. Let me know what you guys think. What do you guys think about this dedicated, you know, on here? I think it's cool. I think it's, you know, it's awesome. You know, I'm probably gonna do the images again, the Rampage, the Pac-Man, the Donkey Kong on there, because I really like how this one came out. Let me know your thoughts, your ideas on that, and if you want to see more of these as well, these single game dedicated caps. So, alright, that does it here. That's all the images. Enjoy it, guys. Like I said, the work's been done on there. I share my work on here, you know, and you know, you don't have to go through all the tutorials on there. It's basically, once you figure out how to write the image into the card, it's pretty much plug and play, as long as you have it hooked up. How I have the images, I'm going to bring up the images again one more time before we exit out on here. And yeah, that's the Street Fighter. I'm very pleased with the final product of both of them. You know, the dedicated one as well as this one. Like I said, this one you could customize, edit how you want it. So I leave those options there for you guys. Let me know what you guys think. Signing out.